Flow is possibly the most desirable feeling and state. Why? Because it's present. It makes us present. We're in the moment. It gives us a massive chemical cocktail that we're going to go into. It also gives us our belief, and it affects the filter system of our brain.
Welcome to the Mindset by Design podcast with your host, the expert Andy Murphy, where you will learn the tips, tricks, and strategies he teaches his world-class clients to give you the skills to dominate any business.
What's going on, Mindset by Design crew, and welcome to episode 308. Hope you're amazing as always. I'll always say it. I always mean it. I hope really that life is treating you beautiful and things are getting back to the new normal. Do you know what I mean? There's been a lot of chaos the past 18 months. And it's that long, right? It's about 18 months that we've been in this wild new world. And you know what? I hope you're navigating it. I hope you're having behavioral flexibility. I trust that you're working out a new way if the old way isn't working, right? Because the beautiful thing about entrepreneurism and thought leaders is that we live by our imagination. Do you know what I mean? It's like we used to, the old saying is, we live by the sword, we die by the sword. Well, yeah, we can play with swords if you want, but the truth is, it's a case of, we live by our imagination. And that imagination can pull us into darkness. That imagination can pull us into light. That imagination can pull us into self-sabotage and all those old patterns. Or it can bring us into a new way of thinking, a new way of feeling, a new way of acting about our lives, ourselves. And instead of those dreams that we imagine for years and years, instead of them being dreams, we actually live in them. And that'd be amazing, right? And the thing is, we have to let go of what doesn't serve us anymore, and that could be people, that could be places, that could be events, or even emotions or behaviors or habits or our own personal self-sabotages, right? Very interesting. Today's topic. Yeah, I'm going to go on a little rant, and we'll see where it goes. But you know what I mean? I was thinking about what to do today, and the biggest thing that I see in my FireMind private performance circle, it's just my private performance circle, it's access to maximum about 10, 12 people, and you get mentoring by me personally, you get a digital training program, which is the best in the world, and you get masterminds, right? And that's my formula to make sure that we kick ass, and we make sure that over the next 90 days, 6 months, over the next 12 months, that we're really exploding your business and life and getting over all of the things that don't serve you anymore, the old patterns, behaviors. And it was interesting because in there, one of the big things I find is when I'm dealing with people is that, it's about being able to stop distraction, which we could call ADD, ADHD, self-sabotage, whatever you want, right? And instead of that, what we do is give you the techniques and tools and train that unconscious mind, up your brain, right, to always be able to step into flow. And I say always because flow is really an elusive thing, and that's the way it's taught. But I really personally believe that there's something that these high-level experts specifically around flow are missing. Yes, I'm controversial. I generally am, and I generally think what's being taught out there is absolute crap. I do. It's all fluff and noise. And what I want to show you today is just a tiny little bit of extract. An extract? Yeah, I suppose it's an extract, right? It's an extract. A little clip from, the FireMind Performance Circle. You know what I mean? And as I say, that's my private circle. I don't let everybody in there. It's I advertise, and it's my main focus right now. We're growing another brand, and we're also big into the finance and investment, right, arena. And that's really my big focus. And I help people walk through those steps. But my private performance circle I absolutely love it. I love it because I get intimate access to you. You get intimate access to me. And remember, I've done this for 19 years and looked into thousands and thousands of minds at the highest level, from world champions to 9-figure CEOs to startups to the best online to royalty, right? It all goes around. NBC stars, Hollywood actors, you get the idea. And the thing is, it's all the same. Because these type of people that we're very creative, we're very ambitious, and we're very kind of crazy, right? We're a little crazy. And it's being able to manage that crazy and being able to manage your emotions, your mind, your internal dialogue, your state or your peak state, so you can perform whatever you choose, whenever you want to. Does that sound good? Does that sound something that you want? Of course it does, right? And so that's why I want to teach you more about flow today. And yeah, it's not from the 8-Figure Thinker, but the extract is, obviously. The extract, I use that word again. The extract is. But really what this is about is giving you some more tools. Right? It doesn't matter what level you're playing at. You could be hitting 5 figures, you could be doing 9 figures. It's not about the money. It's about how are you performing inside of that environment. And when you start to understand that and you start to get mental tools, because definitely this is what I do, is definitely not life coaching, right? I'm kind of anti-life coaching. The other thing is definitely not is personal development. It's definitely not what I do, right? Although you're going to develop who you are. What this is about is giving you absolute specific tools that you can implement in your life and business once you've learned all the techniques and tools of your trade, you know? So if you're badass at what you're doing already, but you're hitting that dip or can't get moving or procrastinating or can't stay focused and ADDing all over the place, then guess what? Yeah, probably need to have a little chat, right? And we'll talk about that in a second, but flow is a beautiful thing. And I want you to be able to drop into there anytime you want to be able to go inside today. And I mean this. Because flow, when you understand truly what it is, which we're going to cover today, it's a game changer, right? And there's something, and I mention it and I talk about it in this clip, that there's a real issue that people who teach flow are not understanding, right? And I'm going to cover that today, and you're going to listen and you're going to love it. So speaking of loving it, make sure you're heading over to the show notes, right? Make sure you're heading to, right now it's andymurphy.biz, but it's about to change to andymurphy.online, okay, just so you know. And I want you to go and just apply. And apply now in the link I'm going to send you in the show notes, but it's really just click on mentoring, right? And what's in there is an application form. It's nice and simple, but I'd love to speak to you. And it doesn't matter what level of the game you're at. I just want that hunger, that ambition, that drive, that obsession, right? To fulfill and move into the next stage in your life. And whether you're moving to 5 to 6 figures or you're moving from 7 to 8, 6 to 7, 9 to 10, who cares? It's really about what you want to do at the highest level. And I want to show you all these tools, these skills, these systems. And as I say, it's available to you now. So let's have a chat, okay? Sound good? Sounds good. So andymurphy.biz, it will be biz. That's a combination of B-I-Z, Z, because I'm British, and Z, right? But anyway, andymurphy.biz or andymurphy.online. Depends where you're listening to this too, right? But come and have a chat with me. Let's see if we can take this game to a whole new level. It's a right fit. It's a right fit. If it's not, it's not. We leave as friends either way. And if that sounds good, or it might sound good at the end, either way, make sure that we connect today. So, Facebook group is another way to connect, and hey, just hit me up on social media. But let's jump into this episode today. It's about 30 minutes long, so set your clock. You might want to take notes, because it might be a revelation of a couple of the things that I say in there. And I know that you're going to get some big ahas, and it's going to be a game changer for you. So speaking of game changers, should we just get into this? I thought you might say that. So I will see you at the end of the show. Enjoy.
Hello, everybody. What's up? So here we are. I think this is mastermind number 9. And just for that, we're going to take the glasses off. Just for mastermind number 9. So we're just talking with John a second, and it was very interesting that came up. Ownership. And so I want to start this conversation on ownership. And then today's topic is we're going to go into flow states. Okay. So we're going to teach you about flow states and even how to drop into flow within minutes, sitting at your desk and achieve anything you want to achieve. Would that be helpful? I think so. So ownership. So the podcast I want everyone to watch is one of my favorite episodes of a guy called Guy Ritchie, director on Joe Rogan. Now, you might not want to listen to it all. When it gets to 3/4 of the way through, they move into martial arts and talking about all that stuff. But the first half of it is about ownership. And this is one of the most brilliant things anyone's ever said to me. It like really stuck out in my mind. And it was like this. He gives it, what's the old saying? Don't hate the player, hate the game, right? He gives it, no, don't hate the game. Love the game. It's the game you've chosen. It's the game you're playing. Get really good at that game or change the game you're playing because this is what you're playing. So take ownership over the game you're playing. Take ownership over the decisions you're making. Take ownership over this is your ride, right? If you don't like the game you're playing, change the game. But whatever game you're playing, own it and go full on, right? And this is where he starts talking about, because he wears suits, right? He wears suits all tailored and he's got a pocket square, pocket square. And he gives it, listen, Joe, everything about the suit is, I wear it for a reason because it got taken away from the working man. A suit was originally back in the day just to look good. Every day was to look presentable, but it got taken away from the working normal man and it got put in, this is the uniform that you wear to go to work, right? So he says, I've taken that back. That's the ownership. Everything I do is deliberate, including this pocket square, right? He gives it, that is deliberate. And it's basically deliberate to show everybody I'm taking ownership over everything in my life. And I say that to everybody because it does boil down to that, right? I remember getting let down by somebody, getting ripped off years ago, whatever. And my friend said to me, I said, oh, this has happened. And they literally looked at me and went, make better decisions. Pretty brutal, pretty on point, but it's also the truth. When we take responsibility for our own happiness, our own health, our own business, our own responsibility of moving forward, and also the vision that we have in our head for the life that we want. Take ownership over it. Because the truth is, we lean in or we lean out. If we lean in, we're going to move forwards. If we lean out, we're going to rock backwards. So we might as well take ownership. So that's what we're covering. So I think everyone will like this. Let me pull this in and let's talk about this. And then we can cover what we need to on the way. The reason I want to show everyone this today, and then we'll jump in for Q&As. Have you got any questions or anything? Good. Okay. So let's jump into flow. And whether you've covered this before with me, whether I've been through this, whatever, it doesn't matter. Just because something's common knowledge doesn't mean it's common practice. And then we're going to take it to somewhere else today. And again, remember, these topics are going to be repeated in the future. They are going to be. So pay attention now, and then we can reiterate in the future. But flow is something very special. Flow is something that we've all experienced, and flow is exceptionally powerful, okay? But what is flow? Well, flow is an optimal state of consciousness, a peak state where you can be your best and also perform at our best. It is a state or brainwave that is available to anyone. Now, this gentleman is, I love Miha Csikszentmihalyi, right? You can pronounce it correctly. I can't, never have. And I've looked at this guy's stuff for like 10 years. But it is not enough to be happy and have an excellent life. The point is to be happy while doing the things that stretch our skills, that help us grow and fulfill our potential, right? So what happens here is we talk about boundary expansion and state changing and stepping into this outside of this boundary condition that we get stuck in. Well, what this means is that that's great. We can have a boring or certain and comfortable life. But the truth is, what creates flow and movement and growth is us stepping out constantly outside our comfort zone. So flow is possibly the most desirable feeling and state ever. Why? Because it's present. It makes us present. We're in the moment. It gives us a massive chemical cocktail that we're going to go into. It also gives us our belief, and it affects the filter system of our brain. So the reason I'm telling you this is I'm moving you to do, if we get time today, which I think we will, is I want to show you how to sit down at your desk, no matter where you are in the world, no matter what you've got to do, and drop into flow. Because flow is where we have creativity. Flow is where we feel like we've been downloaded the information. So when we are in flow, time moves fast. Everything is in flow, right? So a flow state is another word for the zone. Okay, so that was what people used to call it. Now they call it flow, and in 5 and 10 years they'll call it something else. But flow is the zone, and we all remember those back being in the zone, right? Looking at that surfer, could he be in anything else but in flow state in that moment? No, it's impossible, because what that means is he's in the moment. He's full of chemicals that are pumping it up. His belief is on point, which means he's searching for the outcome. So he is in flow. If he wasn't in flow, instantly right there, that wave would wipe him out. I want you to understand that's exactly the same with business. It's exactly the same with everything that we want to do at a high level, plain and simple. So flow is created when we are pushing a boundary condition. Understand that, right? When we are just stepping constantly outside of our comfort zone, that's where we get this flow. If we stay in our comfort zone, nothing is going to pull us towards that, and we ultimately will get bored, right? So what happens is flow means, again, it says it there beautifully, and I'll move back to martial arts. So a martial art is stepping into a ring to fight. They are in flow if everything's done correctly and we set their mind up correctly. Why? Because it's fear and excitement. It's on the edge, right? It's all or nothing. It's live or die. So where people win in business is that they are constantly living on this edge of nearly falling over forwards, right? But never quite. And when we are in this place, it means we are present. It means we are focused. It means everything is surging towards that moment, okay? When we are in daily life, we are not in flow. So we've got to get really good at dropping into these moments, right? So all in. So think about a poker player going all in, right? That's what we want. We want that in your business, and we want that in your life. There's a gentleman called Rob Dyrdek. If you don't know this guy, please go and find this guy, right? He created many TV shows, but what people don't understand, they think he was a presenter. He's not a presenter. He's the one that put the TV shows together. So Rob Dyrdek, I want you to look at this because he's just created a new podcast. It's called Build with Rob. Okay, Rob is someone I've followed for like many, many years, like well over a decade, and I've watched his career absolutely boom. And he's created his own first skateboarding labels when he was 14 years old. So he knows how to build brands a beautiful way. Well, something Rob talks about is a do or die founder. And a do or die founder means the founder of the company needs to be what? All in. right? Because if they're all in, they're willing to do or die. Those are the companies that he invests in and helps grow. So if he's becoming on his way to become a billionaire, right, then we probably want to listen to these people. So making sense so far, everyone? I'm going to run through this. You get it? Good, good, good. So how I figure entrepreneurs into flow, because Stephen Kotler, who is the, besides Miha Mari, who I showed you before, Stephen Kotler is the modern day like person who studies and promotes flow states. But there's something about all the people that teach flow that they're missing. And it's something I need to promote to the world, and it's something I need to show because they're getting something wrong. Surprise, surprise, right? I show you different things. So this is the key thing. There's a missing key to understanding flow, and we'll show you what that is. So flow can become elusive. Now, what he talks about is that we can never 100% predict flow. I agree with that. But what I also agree with or disagree with is that we can really make it 99%. We really can. And flow can be elusive unless you do these things. Now, what that means is you precondition the neural nets, right? That's the first one. It's something I've taught you forever, and we have to precondition who we are, what we see, how we want to respond, what I call and what my system is neuro-conditioning. We have to condition ourselves to respond under extreme circumstances that we're not used to, okay? The main thing I want to teach you today, and this is what I am going to teach you today, is the second bit, okay? And that's what we're going to cover today. The understanding of my 3 phases of focus. I want you to understand those because this is how you're going to sit down at your desk whenever you want to, and you are going to be able to what? Drop into flow. Would you like to know what that is? I thought you might, right? And then we can use my DBM system, which I'll teach you another time, okay? So what I want to teach you today is my 8-figure thinker flow formula. Remember, the 8-figure thinker is inside of FireMind. So step 1 is this. We have to precondition the flow. Remember, this is for you to sit down at your desk, and I'm going to show you something in a minute so you can just pay attention to this, but really remember what I'm about to show you in a moment, okay? So precondition flow. That, first of all, is the bit that is missing from Stephen Kotler's work and everyone that teaches flow. They are not talking about preconditioned flow. So what I mean by that is if you drop into a flow state, so we change brainwave frequencies to gamma, what that means is that you're in flow. Beautiful. What are you flowing to? What are you flowing down? What path? Where are we going? Right? So what happens is if we precondition the flow, then our brain drops into the trance, but it hits or activates a software, right? If we don't have that software, what are we going to do in flow, right? So when we start to understand that, then preconditioning is very, very important. And so we've taught all those things, right? We've taught all those things. But yeah, the mistake that people wear. Okay, so we must build the circuit to go into flow. You're all aware of that, right? If there is no circuit, then guess what? There's not going to be enough connections, and it's not going to go into flow. And that means, look at it this way, martial arts, right? We could walk into that ring or that cage, and we could be in a state of flow, could be feeling amazing, our beliefs are there, we step into that cage. But if we haven't developed the skills and we haven't preconditioned our nervous system to step into the new and be on point, then guess what's going to happen? We're not going to be in flow. We're going to be back in our brain or amygdala in our head, and we're going to come out of flow. So if that person has developed all the skills, they step into that ring, they're going to perform, okay? If they haven't set their mind up and they step into that ring, they're not going to be in flow because the mind is suddenly going to be, the amygdala is going to go into an alarm. Are you safe? And then that means they're going to make the wrong decisions rather than playing the software that we've installed. What I've just shown you might make sense, it might not make sense, but if you understand this, this is literally revolutionary to what's being taught in the industry. Okay, so taking you out of flow and trance, right? So trance is flow. Brainwave frequencies are flow. Okay, so where am I getting to? I'm getting to this point. Okay, so to understand flow, just taking these three examples: baseball person, martial artist, and golfer. Now, what that means is that a martial artist and golfer means that we're just trying to let somebody in, and Zoom is being Zoom. So hello, Zoom. Okay, let's pause that a second. Let's resume that. Let's pause that. Well, that was sucked. I
shared, I told you a couple things that were working for me this week.
Yes.
And this taps right into that. So the second thing I did, you'll notice I'm wearing a collared shirt. I realized that, if I was wearing the same sweatpants and t-shirt from the second I wake up till the time I go to bed, there's, one less delineation to break up my day. And so I was like, I need to do a few things to change my internal and external environment to make it more conducive to getting into that state of mind for working.
Awesome.
And so that's why I decided to start dressing up. And it also just helps me have that clean cutoff point at the end of the day too. When I take off the clothes and change into something else, it's the cue for, okay, this is leisure time now. And I've been doing other things to kind of set up the environment as well. And, the way that you just described in the video will definitely put one into state faster. But the way I kind of see it is like a stack of dominoes. And so I've been trying to set up these series of triggers. I think I actually saw in your presentation like a chain. Yes. And a sequence, like computer code. And so I'm trying to set up this chain of triggers. Like, okay, I've just poured the coffee, I've turned off the phone, I've put in the music, I've got on the dress clothes, I've got my planner out, and I'm writing out my day. And like that for me is been immediately throwing me into flow for the day.
That's beautiful. That's called a chain of anchors.
Yeah.
So each one of those becomes a trigger point, sequenced together. That's a chain of anchoring. So that's beautiful. It's the same way as a sports person would take 2 steps back, one to the side, give himself a little wiggle, right, before they went and kicked the ball. It's exactly the same thing. So I have my own systems exactly like that. So that's epic. That's epic. So what do you feel that's allowed you to do more? By having a sequence, what do you feel that's allowed you to do more?
Oh man, just way more focus and getting things done quicker. It's not a matter of, it's no longer a choice. Before it was a choice of, do I want to do this right now or not? And now it's like, once you cue that sequence, it's like, oh, I'm doing this. It's like when you jump off the cliff, like, okay, I guess I'm going in the water now.
Right. You're in.
you
and that's
can't pause it.
Right?
Yeah.
Exactly. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Man. I love that. That's powerful. So what have you felt that has not worked for you?
The opposite of that. So, not having various things in my environment that are cues for me in my brain to know that, I should be doing a certain thing at a certain time. So again, like I have and building off of what I said before, it's, I used to drift around the house and work in different places. And sometimes that would help a little bit, kind of invigorate me or excite me to get up and move around and be someplace new. But it's like, okay, no, I need to have a dedicated workspace, or maybe like 2 workspaces. And again, it's just like, once you start building in your mind the idea that, okay, this is where I work. Once you get into that environment, that's where you're working.
Right. Yes, exactly. I love it.
You start working on the couch where you play Netflix or video games, and you're going to want to start playing video games. Totally. You're going to be thinking about relaxing. Yeah.
Totally. When I'm like on my phone in between meetings or whatever it is or whatever I'm doing, I will not face the computer. I will turn away. I will face the opposite way to look at social media or something, because I don't even want that emotion that connected with that. I don't even want it connected with it. So, so that's how detailed you could go. I love it though. I love it, John. It's powerful.
Yeah. And then just miscellaneous things too. I would check my email, not first thing in the morning, but before I would start working, and that would just fill my mind with so many thoughts and mental chatter and put me, down rabbit holes. I won't do that until a couple hours in, as a little like reward and break.
Right. I like that.
Like
I like
all, phone on silent, screen down, so I'm not even tempted to look at my phone when I see the screen. It's upside down, and got a little planner in front of me and write out my day.
Powerful, man. Powerful.
Yeah.
That's huge. And I love what you said about it being quicker, right? That's what people don't understand. When you're setting your brain up, you're setting your environment up, you are downloading information. It's like you don't think. It's like it's coming out of you. And that's repeatable, right? But that's why it becomes quicker. So what happens with mental performance is that you're able to do things in a day that would take other people 2 weeks and a week, because that activates the law of Parkinson's, right? But the other side of it is you're just way more efficient at delivering information or solving problems. And that all becomes a brainwave state change and all the rest of it, man. So I love it, John. I love it, man. So it feels nice to get dressed up for work at home, right?
Yeah.
You don't have to go to work. That's the thing. I love it. So I love that. And an own schedule. So do you use any task management software or anything, John? Do you use Asana, ClickUp, Trello?
No, I've tried all sorts of things, and I'm just a pen and paper person. I like that tactile sense. I like I don't know. I like playing around with the planner, so I've got a pretty detailed planner.
I get it, mate. I have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pages. Yeah, I write exactly. These 5 pages are from today. It's like, it's insane. So I love that. So you're that type of person. I tend to use both. So daily tasks go onto a list, and I'll repeat those lists every day, but I've also have a general over plan, right, of what we're going, that I don't always check in every day. But I know where I'm going. Merv.
Yes, hello. Hey, John.
Hello, buddy.
And hey, Andy.
Hey.
So what time is it there in the morning, mate? Because I got told that there's been another. So, Merv, man. So what I spoke about today, obviously you jumped in towards the end, but I can cover it again. Do you see that helping? Do you see the flow states? Do you see the awarenesses? Do you see the anchoring and everything else? Do you think that's going to help you right now?
Yeah, definitely. There's some good tips in there. I especially love the music one. That works really well for me to get pumped up. I've been using Trello just to get my workflow a bit better.
Cool.
And I think for me too, it might be a little bit different, but I've just been splitting up my day and doing 3 different tasks. So great. I find if I spend like all day on one task, my brain can't handle it. I get bored of it, I spend about 2 hours on one certain task, 2 hours on setting up a podcast, learning about how to download it and put it out there, and then 2 hours on a counselling course. So I kind of just been spreading it up, which has been which is kind of like it's worked well for me instead of just concentrating on one task the whole day. So it might be a little bit different, but
no, that's great. It's great, mate. Yeah, 3 tasks means 3 state changes, and it means 3 separate sections of your day. Badass, right?
And and I remember what you said last week in our private chat about just thinking like a CEO or a business owner and just trying to get those neuron drivers and that. Yep. I'm just working on that. So
good man. I love it. And I love it. And this is why I love what you said about the mirror neurons there. So I just want you to this session is really about, and I'll have to re-record it, but it's this session really is about understanding that we have to be in flow to perform. Whether it's a baseball player, martial artist, or golfer, that's a peak state. We've got to be in flow. We have to precondition our brain to know what we're doing at the end of those 2 hours. You've got 2-hour blocks, right? So 2-hour blocks. You want to get very clear on what that end is, what you're trying to achieve in those 2-hour blocks, because that's where your filter will change and your focus very clearly on what you're trying to achieve. If we go into that 2-hour block and just go, let's see what happens, it's going to be random. But if we get clear, those are the 3 tasks that I've got to achieve in these 2 hours, bang, you'll get it done.
So crew, there we go. The end of episode 308. Hopefully you got lots of little golden nuggets out of that. Hopefully you understand now, and hopefully you can see how I work with and grow, and people are expanding really, really fast who part of my Firemind Private Performance Club, right? The Private Performance Club is only available to a hand select few people. Not everyone gets in. I'm making it as affordable as possible. And again, it's about if you're on fire, if you're wanting things, if you're driving forwards, if you want to get over certain things that are stopping you, and you want to learn the same techniques that I've taught to 10,000 people and some of the best people in the world, then let's have a chat. That's simple. So head over to the show notes. There's lots of different links in there, but the main one I want you to do today is what? Yes, apply and let's have a chat with me. I'm going to take these calls personally, which is really cool. Different to the other brands we've got going, but working with me personally, well, that's a special thing. And you get to do that at 1/10 of a cost. So, probably want to jump on it. So jump on andymurphy.biz for you American folk. Or by the time you listen to this, it might be andymurphy.online. But either way, head over to Mentorship, the tab, click the apply, and let's have a chat. If it's right for you, it's right for you. If it's not, it's not. But either way, we end as friends. So much love. Re-listen to this, and hopefully I will be seeing you very, very soon. Until then, go kick ass. Much love. And oh yeah, one more thing. Why don't you smile for me?
Thanks so much for listening to today's episode of the Mindset by Design podcast with your host and NLP expert, Andy Murphy. We'll catch you next time.